Here is a video for all those of you who want to improve your English daily. You have to listen and understand what you're listening to. Then you have to speak. These are all the steps which I'm going to tell you about in today's video. But since many of you are finding it difficult to listen only to the audio, I shall give you the script also when you are hearing the story. We have a simple story about a great person, Helen Keller. Many of you might have heard of her. But what is our interest here? Our interest is not only to learn the facts of Helen Keller, which are interesting, but to use these sentences, to use this passage in order to learn English. And the steps I will show you will help you to learn every day. These are the steps you need to follow. For those of you who are beginners, these steps will be very useful if you take them one by one. Listen, then read. When you are listening, listen carefully. Listen to each sentence. Then you read because the script will be there with you. You have to read. Reading implies that you read aloud. Listening and reading are two skills which give us the background or the foundation for English. Just by learning the rules, there is no use. I'm talking to you about rules in grammar videos. I'm telling you the rules in correction of sentences videos. But this is a video of practical use, how to improve your speaking. Many of you listen, but then you say you cannot understand everything which you listen to. Therefore, I will tell you that step also today. And that is not only listening or reading, but your ability to understand. How are you going to proceed towards understanding the passage? Then once you have understood, this will be the material which you will use for your speaking. Instead of Helen Keller, you can talk about somebody else. Like in a video where I gave you a famous person, Swami Vivekananda, in the comment box somebody wrote, we can talk about B.R. Ambedkar. That's wonderful. I felt very happy to see that comment. If that person had written 10 sentences about Ambedkar, I would have been happier also. Because we are learning to construct sentences. We are learning to put sentences together to form a paragraph or many paragraphs, a passage. We are learning to speak. So when you want to speak, please remember that you need to listen and read. You need to understand. Only then you graduate to speaking. Let us see the passage first. A small child of 19 months fell seriously ill. A small child of 19 months fell seriously ill. She lost her sight and hearing. She lost her sight and hearing. Since she could not hear, she never could learn to speak. Since she could not hear, she never could learn to speak. But in spite of her triple handicap, she became one of the most famous personalities in the world. But in spite of her triple handicap, she became one of the most famous personalities in the world. This is the story of Helen Keller. This is the story of Helen Keller. Her teacher, Anne Sullivan, made this stubborn and insensitive child into a good human being. Her teacher, Anne Sullivan, made this stubborn and insensitive child into a good human being. She taught Helen to speak and see by using her fingers. She taught Helen to speak and see by using her fingers. She told Helen to learn to appreciate the world around her. She told Helen to learn to appreciate the world around her. Helen overcame her natural defects by perfecting her sense of touch and cultivating her mind. Helen overcame her natural defects by perfecting her sense of touch and cultivating her mind. When she grew up, she spoke impressively about the value of human life. When she grew up, she spoke impressively about the value of human life. She said that those who have the blessing of sight should admire the beauty of the world. She said that those who have the blessing of sight should admire the beauty of the world. But most people with eyes don't see anything. But most people with eyes don't see anything. This made Helen Keller sad. This made Helen Keller sad. She said, "If I just had 3 days to see, I would treasure all the beauties of nature." She said, "If I just had 3 days to see, I would treasure all the beauties of nature." She taught us to live each day fully and feel grateful for all that we have been gifted. She taught us to live each day fully and feel grateful for all that we have been gifted. You have briefly heard the story of Helen Keller. I'm sure you found it a very inspiring story. You can read it in greater detail in many books which are available about her. But since I'm introducing you just to listening and reading, then understanding the passage and speaking about it, I did not give you a very long passage. Because in a short video, we cannot fit in a huge passage. If you are able to use this, you can read up about Helen Keller and speak for an hour about her. That would be excellent practice. Not few sentences, not 1 or 2 minutes, but for an hour. Now, we have to first see what is the problem with the passage which you encountered. Did you listen to the passage, every sentence, every word? Did you see the punctuation marks? Did you see how full stop, comma is put? In one place, Helen Keller speaks, there is an inverted comma or quotation marks. All these, there are different paragraphs. The paragraph changes. You see half a sentence, it ends, and the rest of the line is empty. Again, from the next line, it starts. These things you have to note when you are reading. But when you're listening, there is no need for all that. Listening and speaking are oral skills. Now, what you need to do is you need to identify the words which you could not understand, the expressions which you could not understand, and then go forward. So the second step, the first step is listening and reading, which we have completed. Now the second step is, are you able to understand the words? Whichever word you could not understand, what you can do is you can note them down, or you can write them if you want, and wait for the meanings. How will you get the meaning? Today, of course, since it is a learning video, I'm giving you the meaning. But I will not be there beside you all the time. I will not be sitting with you whenever you read or you listen. Therefore, you need to cultivate the habit of looking at the dictionary. I have given you the meanings of all the difficult words in the passage today, difficult which I thought. Now, I don't know what you find difficult. Therefore, you need to tell me which are the difficult words. You can also look at the dictionary and in the comment box say, this word was difficult for me. You did not tell us the meaning. Therefore, I found the meaning. Your comment will not only help you, but it will help the thousands of others who are watching these videos. So please do that. In the passage, overcame means defeated or got over. Defects mean weaknesses. Perfecting means improving. Cultivating means making better. Impressively means in an inspiring manner. Blessing means gift of God. Admire means appreciate. Treasure, verb form, means consider valuable. Grateful means thankful or glad. Sight means use of eyes to see. Hearing is the ability to hear sounds using the ears. Triple means threefold. Handicap means disadvantage. Personalities mean well-known people. Stubborn means not listening to anyone or doing what they want. Insensitive means uncaring or unsympathetic. Appreciate means to feel pleased about. Now you have seen all the meanings of words which are difficult. Another aspect of understanding is whether you understood the facts which were given in the story. This is called comprehension. It also helps you to speak because you can take the idea of the answer from the passage and put it in your own words. You can look at the questions. I'll give you now 10 questions. Look at each question. Try to recollect what you had listened to, what you had read when I showed you the passage and I read the passage out to you. If you can recollect, write down the answer or speak out the answer loudly. If you cannot recollect, go back to the passage once more. In this way, if you can answer the 10 questions, then you have understood the passage very well. Once you have understood the words, that is vocabulary, once you have understood the facts, that is whatever is told to you in the passage, then you can start speaking. So the last exercise is when you tell the story of Helen Keller in your own words. You take the ideas from here. The ideas are all there. The difficult words are already familiar with you. If you find these words as very difficult, try to make 10 sentences with each of the words so that they become familiar. And you can use it in different places, not only in the story of Helen Keller. When you are telling the story, use other words. Use the synonyms of these words. That will be an excellent practice of speaking. But let us now see the 10 questions which we have. Questions based on the passage. How old was Helen when she fell ill? What was Helen's triple handicap? What were Helen's qualities before she met her teacher? What was the name of Helen's teacher? What did this teacher teach Helen? How did Helen overcome her natural defects? What did Helen speak about when she grew up? Who should admire the beauty of the world according to Helen? What would Helen have done if she had 3 days to see? What did Helen teach us? Now the 20 questions are there in front of you. You have heard all the questions. You can see the questions also on your screen. Here, stop for a moment. If you want to pause the video, you can do that. Then you try to recollect what can be the answers of this. Otherwise, pause the video when you have seen the first few questions. Then try to answer them. Then continue on to the next few questions. Then you answer them. But in case you have a problem, for today, since this is a practice exercise, I will give you the answers. But please remember that unless you question yourself and unless you answer whenever you read a passage daily or whenever you listen to a passage daily, that is what I'm trying to tell you. This has to be done every day. If you do it for a few days, you will find that there is great improvement in your speaking. I remember one comment where somebody said that we don't need to learn the duration of time. We don't need to say silver jubilee or we don't need to say, centenary. But please remember, I'm trying to upgrade your English. I'm not allowing you to remain at that bottom level of English where you just speak only a few sentences. No, I want you to learn higher and higher, better and better, so that when you come to a context where you require a higher vocabulary, where you require a better English, you need to use it. That is why the video is about improvement. Now let us see the questions and answers which we have to look at. The first question was, how old was Helen when she fell ill? I hope you remember. She was 19 months old. You can just say 19 months. That is a short answer. How old was Helen when she fell ill? Answer, 19 months. Complete answer. Finished. No need to say anything more. But if you want to learn better English, if you want to learn correct sentences, fluent English, you want to improve your ability to speak, then you will answer this question by saying, Helen was 19 months old when she fell ill. Helen was 19 months old when she fell ill. Now the second question, what was Helen's triple handicap? Now the short answer can be sight, hearing, speaking. Triple handicap, sight, hearing, speaking. Or you can say, Helen's triple handicap was that she could not see, she could not hear, or she could not speak. And she could not speak, not or. She could not hear, she could not see, and she could not speak. Please use and, don't use or. Because or would mean any one of the three. But she had problems with all three. Then you use the long sentence. What were Helen's qualities before she met her teacher? Two words are used here, stubborn, insensitive. So that is enough answer. What were the qualities, Helen's qualities before she met her teacher? Stubborn and insensitive. You can say stubbornness, that is the noun form, stubbornness, N-E-S-S, and insensitivity, V-I-T-Y. You remove E and say I-T-Y, insensitivity. Or you say the two qualities which Helen had before she met her teacher were stubbornness and insensitivity. Or you can say Helen was stubborn and insensitive before she met her teacher. Then we move on to the next question. What is the name of Helen's teacher? Just the name is enough, Anne Sullivan. Or you can say the name of Helen's teacher was Anne Sullivan. Or you can say Helen's teacher was called Anne Sullivan. So many ways of answering. That is why I told you that looking at these questions, you can frame your own sentences. By framing your own sentences correctly, you are learning better English, better speaking. What did the teacher teach Helen? You can answer short. To speak and to see. See is within inverted commas, you might have seen. By using her fingers, by touching things, she was shown how she can see. You know, blind people, they keep touching. They touch a table and say, oh, this is a table. They touch something soft and they say, oh, this must be a sofa. Like that, they, touch is what their sight is. So you can say that Helen's teacher taught her to speak and to see using her fingers. She taught her to see using her fingers. How did Helen overcome her natural defects? How did Helen overcome her natural defects? You can give short answer. By perfecting her sense of touch and improving her mind. By becoming perfect in the touch, the sense of touch, and in improving her mind. The word is used cultivating. So here you can use the idea improving her mind. We go on to the next sentence. What did Helen speak about when she grew up? We say here, short answer you can give. The value of human life. Earlier she was totally disheartened because she had triple handicap. Now she learned the value of human life. So she spoke impressively about the value of human life. So you can say, when she grew up, Helen spoke about the value of human life. Or when she grew up, Helen told us about the value of human life. In this way, you can frame your own sentences. The facts remain the same. The sentence becomes different. That is how we learn to speak better, by saying the same thing in 2 or 3 different ways. Who should admire the beauty of the world according to Helen? That is the next question. Now you say, those who have the gift of sight. That is a short answer. It is taken from the passage. Those who have the gift of sight. But those of you who are doing comprehension for examinations or tests, don't copy from the passage. You have to use your own sentence. So you should say, according to Helen, the beauty of the world should be admired by people who have been given the ability to see, or people who can see by using their eyes. She can see by using her touch. We can see by using our eyes. So that is what she's telling us. What would Helen have done if she had 3 days to see? This is a very beautiful short part of something she said. 3 days to see. It is there in our passage within inverted commas. If I had 3 days to see. So what is the answer? The answer is there in the passage. Treasure all the beauties of nature. That is what she said. If I had 3 days to see, I would treasure all the beauties of nature. Now, instead of using that, if you want a long sentence, different from the passage, fact is same, expression is different. Then what do? You say that if Helen had 3 days to see, she would have appreciated all the beauties which nature has. or she would have appreciated nature, which is very beautiful. Instead of saying treasure, we are using the word appreciate, or you can say admire, or you can use any other word which shows that she is going to enjoy whatever nature has to offer us. Then we have the last question. What did Helen teach us? That is the last part of our passage. What did Helen teach us? If you want to answer in brief, there are two things she has taught us. Live each day fully. First, live each day fully. Don't waste time. Feel grateful for all the gifts, for all that we have been gifted. So feel grateful. Live each day fully. So Helen taught us, you can answer in long, to live each day fully without wasting any time, and to be grateful, to thank God for all the gifts which we have got, or all the blessings which we have got. Because she doesn't have much, we have so much. Therefore, she is teaching us how we should appreciate whatever we have. In this way, the short passage helps you to improve your English daily. And what are the improvements which you get? You get improvement in listening. Because the passage is in front of you, you get improvement in reading. Switch off the audio and look at the passage and read it aloud. Then compare it with the audio and see how well you are able to read. You record the audio or you record your voice and play them side by side. You will be able to see how well you're speaking. And then how well you're reading. Then for understanding, you take another passage, not only this, because in this I have explained to you the meanings of words and also the answers to the questions. Take a new passage tomorrow. Take another new passage. There are so many passages now available in the videos which are on this channel. Some of them are there in the PowerPoint form. You can take pictures of that. Use it, listen, read, understand, speak. Once you do all these 4 activities, your English will become excellent. I wish you all the best and thank you.